And now, breaking the news with Dan and Jordan.
Today's episode is brought to you by Sylvester's Secondhand Smoke. Sylvester's Secondhand Smoke, making every second count. And now, our top stories. Breaking news. Today marks a historic moment in MMA when fighters Ben Affleck and Matt Damon brawled throughout the city's library. It was the first quiet fight in the sport's history, as blows were delivered left and right in complete silence to avoid disturbing anyone else at the library.
This was also the first appearance of librarian Jennifer Connelly walking around an MMA fight, shushing everyone as they fought by.
We should let our viewers know that there is no relation to any of the famous celebrities, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, or Jennifer Connelly.
Breaking news now from the world of space. For years it was believed that mankind had been the first visitors to the moon, but a recent trip back has shown that's not the case. When the shuttle touched down on the moon this week, astronauts were surprised to discover a nest of baby birds with the mother bird feeding worms into their mouth. Many are questioning how this could happen at all, considering there is no ability to breathe on the moon.
Such shocking news to see that life could not only develop but thrive in such a hostile environment.
It truly is, Jordan. Scientists are saying that life finds a way.
That is something I've heard science and scientists say. Breaking news now. This is a real blockbuster story, folks. The Pyramid of Giza, the Great Pyramid in Egypt, has woken up. Many tourists flock to see the pyramid each year, but this marks the first year where the pyramid was able to see the people. The pyramid opened its eyes, also displaying a nose and mouth, and observed as tourists from around the world flocked to each of its stones.
I guess what surprises me most about this story, Jordan, is that the pyramid had googly eyes and not regular human eyes like you would expect.
That's true. All the better to see people with, the pyramid is quoted as saying.
I've heard that the ancient Egyptians had advanced technology. I just didn't realize it also stretched to arts and crafts. Perhaps we'll find some glue sticks or other types of popsicle sticks inside of this pyramid now that the eyes are open.
Perhaps we will. Archaeologists are hard at work to discover the origins of the Great Pyramid of Giza.
We'll have some breaking news now, still in the world of space. An errant rocket has been stolen, and the person riding it is not a person at all. Now, when I think astronaut, I generally think human being in a spacesuit. Jordan, would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree.
Well, what we have here is a leopard that has somehow found its way onto the side of a rocket and is now guiding it with its paws and claws, holding on for dear life.
Oh my goodness. These cats are known to be very, very quick. And now that the cat is attached to a giant rocket, I can only assume this cat is enjoying newfound speed.
Absolutely, it is going faster than any leopard ever has before. And here's the other thing, Jordan, the other angle to this story, is that people are confused whether to classify this as a rocket attack or an animal attack.
I'd put my money on animal attack.
That's what I thought at first as well. But if you get hit with the rocket first and not fangs or claws, then it's really hard to decide.
Right. It's all about that crucial moment of impact. Is it claw or is it a rocket?
Scientists are working furiously to make sure they have cameras on the site so that they can determine once and for all which it is.
Breaking news now. Tourists from across the world no longer have to travel to different destinations to experience all of the 7 wonders of the world.
Finally.
North Korea has seized the Colosseum, the Taj Mahal, and many other of the wonders and brought them all into the Hermit Kingdom, so passengers can board a train and see all 7 wonders in a matter of mere minutes.
Well, one big pro of this is that you can experience the entirety of what the world has to offer in a short train ride. One of the cons, I would say, is that you have to be inside of North Korea, one of the most brutal dictatorships currently existing on the planet Earth.
Yes, but they are hoping that these new tourist attractions will improve relations with citizens worldwide and will bring a lot of attention to their fledgling nation.
To be fair, I've never been arrested by secret police and tortured, so I can't 100% say that I wouldn't like it. Breaking news now in the world of art. The Sistine Chapel is regarded as one of the most beautiful works of human art. But a recent paint thinner spill may change all that. In place of the iconic Adam and God touching fingers, artists are now seeing that Michelangelo's original intention may have been God reaching down and booping the nose of a little dog.
This is real blockbuster news. Oftentimes, these paintings will have a different painting underneath, and in this instance, we are privy to a rare artistic discovery.
This is actually something that Giovanni Ribisi, who initially spilled the paint thinner on the top of the Sistine Chapel, is arguing in his court case. He's saying that yes, I did destroy this precious landmark, but at the same time, our knowledge has greatly increased.
When it comes to Michelangelo, I feel like we should examine his other works of art. It's entirely possible that there is a sculpture of a dog underneath the sculpture of the David.
Well, that's exactly where I was leading into for my next part of this story, Jordan, is that art historians are now smashing and destroying other famous works of art to see what hidden treasures are inside.
Hopefully they get to the bottom of it.
The Mona Lisa, unfortunately, yielded nothing underneath. So I would just like to say rest in peace to the Mona Lisa.
Breaking news. You probably sat around with a group of friends, maybe your family, and played a board game or two.
I sure have.
Well, Hasbro is introducing a brand new version of their popular game, Monopoly. Hasbro has introduced many new icons for this momentous and celebratory event, including William Shatner,
Ooh.
a birthday cake, and an exclusive piece, Prisoners of War. The Prisoners of War will behave just like every other piece on the table, except they will not be able to pass go and they will not be able to collect $200.
That's the real William Shatner, or is that just a man named William Shatner?
It is the real William Shatner. He has been shrunken down, he has been galvanized, bronzed, silvered, golded, and turned into tiny icons for at least 100 people to collect with this limited edition version of Monopoly.
Wonderful. Well, I have some breaking news, and that is a slight correction to my previous story. I accidentally reported that Giovanni Ribisi had been the one who spilt paint thinner on there. No relation to the celebrity. It actually turns out that it was a man named Tom Hanks. So I'm sorry for that. Breaking news now from the world of pizza. Jordan, what's your favorite pie flavor?
My favorite pie flavor is spinach, Dan.
That's a great pie. One of my favorites as well. But what if I told you that certain pie flavors will soon be disappearing entirely?
I would be shocked.
Well, it's true. The pizza industry has decided collectively that they will be putting to bed the flavor of pepperoni. Long a favorite of many people, the pepperoni pizza will no longer be served by any pizza restaurant.
Goodness. Viewers can tune in to see the funeral of pepperoni pizza live on this station. And this is an exclusive to this network and this channel in particular. And when they lay that pizza to rest, I know that some people will be tempted to throw pineapple on top of the casket, but we're urging them to not do this.
That's exactly right, Jordan. We don't need that kind of thing on an already hard day.
No, we don't. Breaking news now from the world of sports. Bread. You've had it. You've tasted it. You've smelled it. It's a lot of people's favorite smell. Well, I'm here to tell you that the Boston Breads have made a huge change to baseball. And they have employed the services of head coach Brady McHetty. Brady has been coaching the game for hours and has assured the league and the team that under his watch, the Boston Breds are going to win the World Series.
Well, that's an interesting bit of trivia for you here, Jordan. The Boston Breds actually have not won a World Series since the last time they had a head coach that was bred.
That's true. They're hoping to recapture that glory, recapture that magic, recapture that lightning in a bottle, as you well know, is so very easy to do. And they believe that this is the man to lead them to victory.
Breaking news now, in a story that we've been covering for weeks on this station. The head of the lion community has been placed under arrest. Leo, the lion, was led away in handcuffs from his Park Avenue mansion today by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Leo is thought to be in charge of many animal attacks, even being linked to this latest leopard on a rocket thing.
Now, Leo is also implicated in the murders of several wildebeests. And I hear from sources who are anonymous and unnamed, again, due to legal reasons, that they finally have found evidence linking Leo to these murders.
I think he's going to be really hard-pressed to get out of it this time. David Attenborough and the esteemed film crew at BBC Nature has been following him around for quite some time. They've been documenting everything. I don't know how he's going to get out of this one.
Well, I know for a fact that David Attenborough went deep undercover, dressing up as a wildebeest, and wore a wire. So the information he was able to capture is going to be damning.
Absolutely. Well, that leads us to our top story. I've brought an expert in to interview on the subject of high wire acts. Jordan Ward, welcome to the studio.
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me.
It's great that you're here. I've been trying to get you on the show for a while now to discuss one of my main passions, which is the tightrope. So I just wanted to ask a few questions of a master and, kind of geek out about the tightrope for a little while here. So my first question is this, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the high wire act. Would you start on a high wire when you first do it, or do you start a little closer to the ground just in case you were to fall off?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Dan. There are two schools of thought on the subject. One is to start on a low wire and progressively build yourself up to a high wire as you gain confidence and skill and increase your ability to perform the walk, as they call it. But I don't subscribe to that. When I was a baby, my parents birthed me on a high wire.
Oh.
And it was that moment that defined if I was going to be someone who could walk on the high wire, on the tightrope, or someone who's going to plummet to my death, as my parents did not use a safety net during the birthing. I was able to walk the tightrope on the high wire and did not fall. And it's my belief that that's what makes a true tightrope high wire walker. Being able to be born on the tightrope, being able to walk, crawl, roll on the high wire.
Well, that's amazing. I'd like to actually ask a couple of follow-ups to that then. Were your parents also high wire artists?
They were. My family comes from a long line of high wire artists. We actually walked on tightropes all across Western Europe before being kicked out of the continent because of a wire dispute. And we took a tightrope all the way across the Atlantic Ocean over to North America, where we continued to walk on wires suspended in the air that were very, very tight. Very tight.
Many of our listeners will probably remember the tight rope that stretched between the Statue of Liberty and Big Ben in London. A lot of our viewers actually came over on that very tightrope. So a couple more follow-ups on your birth story, though, Jordan. So was the entire medical team that delivered you also high wire artists?
They were, which was very tough to find. There's not a lot of crossover between the medical community and the high wire community, as you know.
Indeed.
But my family was fortunate. My father, Big Ben, was able to secure people who had tightrope ability and medical knowledge. And by secure, I mean he learned medical knowledge himself and hand-delivered me from my mother's womb onto the tightrope.
Well, that's excellent. What a rare treat. Not all of us can say we were hand-delivered by our own fathers.
That's That's true. As I was coming out of the birth canal, my father handed me a long pole, and I used that to balance as I wiggled my way out of the birth canal onto the tightrope.
Oh, that's just an incredible story. That's amazing. That is amazing. What a wonderful treat for our viewers to finally catch this inside glimpse at one of the masters of tightrope. Now, Jordan, I want to switch gears a little bit here and ask you about a famous stunt that most people have seen. When a man walked between the former World Trade Center buildings on top of a high wire. Now, do you approve of stunt like these, or do you think that the high wire should be kept a little more pure and underneath the circus tent?
I think it should be kept pure. I like the tightropes that are underneath the circus tents, but I mean, my belief is that the high wire or the tightrope, whatever you want to call it, it's something that shouldn't be used just as a cheap trick to dazzle people. Okay, this is serious business. This is my family's heritage. It's my family's legacy. It's walking the tightrope to survive rather than to entertain. And there is a huge difference. Many of my family members plummeted to their deaths. And those trees on our family tree, those branches, they died off. And only those who survived are able to carry on this tradition. So to see people using it as a fancy parlor trick, walking in between buildings, it really cheapens what to me is an important part of history and of culture.
I just have one final question here before we're out of time. In the movie Return of the Jedi, some Ewoks string what appears to be a tightrope between two trees to knock a stormtrooper off of his speeder bike. Now, would you consider that a proper tightrope or high wire?
Well, upon viewing the film, I would say that the rope was tight enough to walk across, but it wasn't high enough. It was quite low to the ground, so would have not classified as the high wire, even though it was a tightrope.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I really appreciate that. That's all the time we have with you, Jordan. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. And a quick shout out for my book. If people want to check that out, it is Tightrope, Loose Lips, the Jordan Ward Story.
Wonderful. Well, we'll have a link to that for you so everybody can check that out. And now back to the studio with Jordan Ward and Sports. Jordan?
Thank you very much, Dan. That was an invigorating interview. I am left wondering where you find such interesting and fascinating guests.
It's one I'd been pursuing for a long time, so I'm really glad we could finally make it happen.
Well, I have breaking news now. Dan, you're a bowler.
I am.
You've tossed a ball. Do you prefer 5-pin or 10-pin?
Well, I'm a big fan of the 5-pin, Jordan, because then you can knock down twice as many pins until you get to 10.
Oh, well, I have some exciting breaking news that you will enjoy then, my friend. In the world of 3-pin bowling, from the 19th of January, 1922, I'm here to tell you some breaking news, blockbuster news. The bowling score has been changed. In an account of Tuesday's intramural bowling and the Wednesday game that took place underneath a lantern-lit alley, I'm here to tell you that there was a mistake with the scores of Alpha Chi Sigma in the triangle match. The triangle won with a score of 699, and Alpha Chi Sigma's score was only 590 instead of 690.
Wow. That is an embarrassing gaffe right there.
It is an embarrassing gaffe. And to make matters worse, bowling officials are demanding physical examinations required of all female bowlers. They say appointments for these examinations should be made at once. And again, this is officially of January 19th, 1922. And they're instructed to see a Dr. Daniel Moser, who will be giving tests on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Well, it sounds like he's got that well under control.
He does
I
indeed.
have some breaking news in the world of sports. The 1900 Summer Olympics were run in Paris, France. That's pretty common knowledge. But what isn't common knowledge is the winner of the shot put that year, which is Richard Sheldon from the United States. Also, in discus throw at the 1900 Summer Olympics, Rudolf Bauer of Hungary takes it home with a 36.04 throw.
That's outstanding. Now, Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know a lot about discus, but is discus where people, they do insults, like they do a diss and they cuss, and so they
No,
merge that together? No, it's not
no,
that.
a
It's
lot of
different.
people think that, and this is why I have been advocating for so long that change the name of discus to frisbee, which is what it really is in the first place.
That I understand. So they muddle the language, they muddy it up with these Greek words, discus.
Yes, I
Just-
totally agree. I totally agree. So, for instance, for an event like the marathon, it's very easy to understand. And Michelle Tiato of France won that event.
Wow, well, congratulations to her. I just have one more bit of breaking news in the world of bowling. Lions have officially been banned from the game due to their conduct on the first school day of the second semester, February 8th. So you will no longer see wild lions in the game of bowling.
Wow, that is amazing. I think it's about time this happened. Far too often you'd see a bowler step up to the line, ready to throw a ball and knock down those 3 pins, and a lion will just jump out of nowhere out of the ball return.
It is far too common an occurrence. Hopefully this will put an end to it, and people will be able to bowl once again in safety.
Well, that's the goal, Jordan. I have one more breaking news story from sports before we move on here. The sport of hockey has been banned. That's right, the sport of hockey has been banned worldwide, and it will no longer be played on any continent.
Well, those hockey players move very fast on skates. I was hoping they could have made a rule change, like getting rid of skates, getting rid of the ice. But if they had to ban it altogether, I can understand why.
Well, Jordan, they did try that. They tried banning the ice, banning the skates, banning the pads, banning the sticks, making the goals much, much larger, banning the puck and turning it into a ball. But they'd found they'd just invented soccer.
Well, we go now to a brand new segment as we throw it to Dan Moser, who is here to bring us a PSA.
Yes, I am, Jordan. Due to a recent court order, I am obliged to provide a PSA to our viewers so that they don't engage in certain behaviors that could be risky. Hi, I'm Dan Moser from Breaking the News with Dan and Jordan, and I'm here today to tell you about the dangers of dousing yourself in gasoline and lighting yourself on fire. Too often, children are out there experimenting with gasoline, experimenting with fires, and get the idea to put them together. It seems as natural a fit as peanut butter and chocolate. But please let this reporter tell you that getting burns over 98% of your body is no fun.
It doesn't sound fun. I know you spent many months in hospital, recovering, having your skin repaired,
Yes.
having your hair reattached to your head,
Yes.
having your eyebrows sewn back on.
Yes. I'm one of the lucky ones, Jordan. As an anchor on a news station, I have a lucrative career that I can fall back on and pay for these expensive medical procedures, but many children, orphans even, just do not have that luxury.
I hear that fire can be a gateway to getting reconstructive surgery.
Well,
And that's something that a lot of these orphans need to be aware of.
It can also be a gateway into something even more sinister than that, Jordan. First, you're dousing yourself in gasoline, lighting yourself on fire. Next thing you know, it's the middle of the night, you're out searching for an active volcano to hurl yourself into the magma. I've seen it all. I've done it all.
Well, Dan, you are an inspiration, and you've inspired me to do a PSA of my own based on some of my recent behavior and court rulings. I will now deliver a PSA.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jordan Ward with Breaking the News with Dan and Jordan, and I'm here to tell you about the dangers of eating healthy. Like you, I too once dabbled in healthy foods, not realizing that kale was a gateway food, which led me to broccoli, which then led me to cauliflower, which then led me to asparagus. Eating healthy is one of the biggest threats that people face today, and many of them don't even realize it. Shopping in supermarkets, eating fresh fruit, eating fresh vegetables. Suddenly, I found myself consumed by eating healthy food. It literally took over my life. And had it not been for the intervention of a friend with some quick junk food to get me off of that dangerous path, my life would have led me straight to the gutter.
I actually am personally touched by this, Jordan, because I watched some of your dangerous behavior and stood by and did nothing. I remember a time when we went to McDonald's and you said, I'm just going to go to the bathroom and drink my strawberry milkshake. And then when you came back, your hands were all red and it did like you'd been eating strawberries. And I didn't say anything. And then there was the time when, oh man, this is hard.
It's okay, Dan. It's okay.
No, it's okay. Then there was the time when I asked you to get snacks for the party, and you came back with banana chips.
Yes.
Telling me that they're just as good as potato chips. And then when I sent you back, you returned with dried kale chips. And I knew something was wrong just right then and there.
I was deep in the grips of healthy food at that point, and that was one of the most lowest points of my life. I'm very ashamed of that.
Well, I wish I would have done something then. I wish I would have given you a handful of lard, or, I don't know, forced you to drink some soda or something. I think I could have done more, and for that I am sorry.
Well, that's okay, Dan. I am willing to forgive you, and to make it up to you, I would like you to come over to my place for a nice big bonfire, and we can put our differences aside, enjoy that. Maybe we'll get some reconstructive surgery after. I don't know. We'll see what the night takes us.
You know what? What the hell? Let's give it a try. I can do one bonfire, just one.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't hurt you. Feels good, doesn't it?
It does. It does feel good to overcome my addictions like that and be able to say, hey, you know what? Even though I'm at a bonfire and it's roaring hot, and I could just douse myself in gasoline at any time and set myself on fire at any time.
Well, that concludes this episode. And be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to join us next week. I have an exclusive story that I will be bringing you about the dangers of being responsible.
I'm working on a story for next week too, Jordan. This one is about dogs. It's about the connection between puppies and dogs.
Well, I look forward to diving into that story. I also have an exclusive interview with a man who will be telling students how they can increase the amount of trash on campus.
Ooh, that's a great initiative. All I ever see these days is people picking up litter. So it's great to see some of it going the other way for a change.
Also, let's not be shy, Dan. I know you have a new book coming out on wasting time. Would you like to promote that now?
Well, I was going to, but I kind of got sidetracked. I guess I could promote that now for a minute. I got a book. What's it called? It's called just give me a sec, I'll think of it. It's called Wasting Your Time Maliciously by Dan Moser. And it basically is just kind of stories that go nowhere, or little half jokes that you wouldn't really get if you didn't know me, or advice that kind of is not good for you, things that just kind of peter out halfway through, that sort of stuff.
Goodness, well, it sounds like it's going to be a New York Times bestseller. It's already #1 on Amazon for pre-orders.
Yes, that's right.
I've bought several copies for myself, so...
I should let you know that the day before the book releases, I intend to refund all pre-orders and force people to go again and try to buy it just to waste a little more of their time. Just to kind of bring that philosophy into play.
You're a dynamo, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, that's all the time we have for today, so we hope you have a great day.
Thanks for listening.
That was Breaking the News with Dan and Jordan.